Hi everyone, and welcome to Talk 46. Now, as promised last week, this week we're going to talk about sugar. Now, sugars are something that as a society we've really developed a taste for. And in our society, you only have to look at America to see that they have become totally obsessed with it. It's in everything. If you even think of their bread in America, it is very, very sweet compared to our bread. Now, our bread also has sugars in. But why shouldn't we have too much sugars? What does it do to us? Well, we are guilty of eating too many free sugars. Now, these are the ones that you add to things. We're talking about juices and purees and things like that, and people adding sugar to tea or perhaps sprinkling sugar on fruit, that kind of thing. If you go for naturally occurring sugars, there are the ones that occur in things like your milk and your fruit and even in veg. They are not free sugars. They occur naturally. Yes, they're fine. And of course, the body can tolerate so much and it's fine for us. It's the added stuff that is the problem. It's also very addictive. So as well as the calories it can contain, which basically do our bodies no good at all, you can find that once you start eating sugar, you can't stop. So the minute you start eating something sweet, you want something more. It can really mess about with our blood sugar levels. So that will affect our energy. So for example, and we'll go into this in detail in another talk, you eat sugar in whatever you're having and your blood sugar levels go sky high. You feel as if you had a pop of energy. You can go and go and go. But very quickly, because the body can't cope with that peak, what it does, it brings in insulin, which brings it right down. You then get those dips. You feel as if you're shattered, you're tired, you can't concentrate. So what do? You look for more sugar and you'll eat more of the same. That up and down can really lead to problems with things like diabetes. Now, there are other health problems as well associated with too much sugar. There's obviously weight gain, there's tooth decay, inflammation. Sugar can really lead to much more inflammation. Fatty liver disease, as I said, type 2 diabetes is one, heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure. I could go on. It is not good for us, but unfortunately, we have the taste for it, and it's very difficult to try and break that habit. But it's not impossible. Nobody's saying it's easy, but if you can start to cut down on the extra sugars, the free sugars, it will make a big difference. So how much sugar should we have? Well, generally, it's suggested that we should have approximately 7 sugar cubes a day. Now, I'll put that here just so that you can see. I'm sure you can envisage it. But there you are. There's 7. Whoop! Dropped one. Sugar cubes. Aren't I just such a professional? Okay, so 7 is what we should have. Think of a can of Coke. I'm talking about the full Coke. There are 9 in that. In one jar of something like pasta sauce, 5 to 6 cubes of sugar. It's hidden in a lot of foods in our breads, as I mentioned in American breads, but it's even in ours. You really have got to watch. So be careful you're not having too much. We need to look at labels. Again, we've talked about this a lot. And I don't mean you have to look at labels all the time. You get used to. We tend to buy very much the same food. So once you've looked at a label a couple of times, you'll know which are the high sugar foods. And perhaps if you can manage it, you can avoid them. So when you're looking at the label, look under carbohydrates. Sugars come under carbohydrate, and it will often say in brackets of which sugars. Now you're looking per 100 grams. Anything above 22 is very high. What we're aiming for is 5 or below. So have a look at the foods that you're eating, look at the labels very carefully and judge what you might be having in one day. So we've got things to look out for on labels. And often in the list of ingredients, sugar might not be listed. But will fructose, dextrose, sucrose, any of those, anything with an O's almost, you can be pretty sure is something to do with sugar. So it's hidden in a lot of things. So all of those things, all those O's, look for those. And if they occur, particularly if they're near the top of the list of ingredients, basically the way these labels work is whatever's at the top, there is the most of. So just as an example, a pot of jam. If you look at jam, the first ingredient listed will be sugar. Generally, it's not the fruit. It might be a beautiful strawberry jam or even a conserve. But if sugar is the top ingredient, that just shows you there's more sugar in there than anything else. So it's something that we've got to look out for. Even honey, sad to say, is a free sugar. We add it to things. It doesn't occur naturally in anything else. So be careful if you've been led to believe that if you have a spoonful of honey every day, it's going to keep away all sorts of things. Just be aware you are taking extra sugar. I'm not saying don't do it, but you need to cut out sugars later in the day. And the worst sugars that we can find are those that occur in things like sweets, cakes, biscuits, all processed foods, all the sweet things that we have grown to love, and it is very difficult to do without them. So be careful. Try if you can to cut down. We don't have to cut out completely, but try to cut down if we can. So here are a few ideas of maybe ways that you can cut your sugar. We've talked about avoiding, if you can, processed foods. A lot of processed foods will have added sugars, even things like your morning cereal, which we'll come on to a second. Swap juices and fizzy drinks for water. Now, I know I go on about water a lot, but it's the safest thing to drink as regards calories, health, and everything else. Keeps your body hydrated. So try and swap those drinks if you can for water. Sweeten plain yogurt with berries. If you are someone who buys a lot of yogurt, you think, oh, this is good, it's healthy. Even in the ones that say that it's low fat or whatever, you may find there are lots of extra sugars. If you buy just the pure yogurt, you can sweeten that yourself with things like berries, any of the fruit that you enjoy. So you're sweetening it yourself to your taste. And believe it or not, your taste buds will change as time goes on. If you can start cutting sugar, you'll find that you don't crave it as much. And when you do get something very sweet, you almost find it unpalatable. It's almost like, that's just too much. So you will get to that stage, but it does take time and it does take effort. Replace sweets with things like a handful of nuts. It might not be what you want, or maybe have some fruit. I know that people have said instead of eating chocolates and things at night, they will sit with a healthy snack. If you can, things like, little batons of vegetables, things like that, or nuts will actually be very good. Use olive oil, vinegar and lemon for a salad dressing instead of these very sweet dressings that we tend to go for. Things like honey and mustard. It's very nice. We love the flavour, but it's the sweetness. Even salad dressings like, for example, salad cream has a lot of sugar within it. So make your own if you can and go for, as I said, it's things like the vinegar, olive oil, and you can use lemon juice as well. Swap your boxed cereals, I'll put my correct teeth in, for things like porridge in the morning. You can have berries if you need a little bit of sweetness. Or can you go for something like an omelette, fish, avocado, something like that. A lot of these box cereals, you'll be amazed how many of them have sugar added. And it's not just the ones that look sugary. It's not the Frosties and things like that, which are very obviously full of sugar. Some of the cereals that we think are very healthy will often have sugar added. So again, check your labels, look under the carbohydrates, you're looking per 100 grams. Instead of having jam on your bread, could you have a banana or on your toast in the morning? Just get a banana and spread that on. It does give you a degree of natural sweetness, and again, your taste buds will adjust. Use natural nut butters instead of things like Nutella. Now, I'm not a great lover of Nutella, or I wasn't, but my grandchildren persuaded me to buy it because they wanted it with their pancakes. What a combination. I have to say, I had a little bit. I tasted it when I was getting it out for them. There is so much sugar in it, so be very, very careful. Check labels on sauces. Things like pasta sauces have an awful lot. Cereal bars, again, they are put across to us as something that's very healthy. Often they're very, very high in sugar, so please check. And also anything that says diet or light. Things that have added sugars you don't want, if you can help it. And often they're called sweeteners. Now, sweeteners, people think, oh, great, well, that's my diet friend. I can have a sweetener instead. What a sweetener will do is it actually fools the brain. So if you're taking your coffee or whatever and you're having sweeteners, the brain detects sweet. So that the signal goes to the brain from your taste buds, right, sweet. But you're not getting the calories from the sugar. It's not sugar. So the brain now thinks, where's the sugar? I want sugar. You still get the same reaction as you would to sugar. You will crave more. So with your coffee, you will then probably have to have a biscuit or a cake or a scone or something like that. So watch the sweetness as well. Include protein and fibre in as many of your foods as you can, as many of your meals rather as you can, in that you will find that that keeps you fuller for longer. It's often when we crave something, when our blood sugars have gone low because we're hungry, we might perhaps missed a meal or something, it's then that we will crave sugar because it's the instant boost that we get, as I mentioned earlier, that's not good for us. And if you can, reduce recipes that have a lot of sugar. If you are a cake baker, you can actually reduce the sugar content by a third and it will still taste good. Worth a try. So look at sugar overall. See if you can cut it. You'll find that not only will you lose a little bit of weight because you're cutting calories, you probably won't be craving as many sweet things, as many extra things and snacks as you were. But then you've got the added benefit of improving your health too. And remember, overall, you're all sweet enough. Take care. Bye for now.